or Fathom note taker automatically starts
It should.
because it says recording.
Yeah, it's recording right now. So don't,
Oh, okay, so
it's recording. I'm gonna check the volume real
well,
fast
we can
here.
let it in at 7. Oh, that's a four.
Testing 1, 2.
Hello?
Okay, I think we are, in fact, I know we are, we're good.
You're
And
still a little blurry, but
yeah, you know what, that's, we've been having issues with that and our tech consultant is trying to figure it out. See how I'm clear and
Yeah.
you're fuzzy? They say that the computer senses personalities
ha 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 ha.
and look at Margaret, Margaret's clear too.
No, I worked for his dad for 15 years, something like that.
We got a history. Okay. Oh, now I'm fuzzy. We did that. Yeah, and then we did an update. We have a consulting tech firm that does this and they just, we cleaned that lens up there. We cleaned that lens, we adjusted that lens, we got into the computer and redid the
So
something.
now people are gonna ask
I
to be let in,
can see the.
Oh, I'll let him in.
and then once Gail lets in, if you could just make her the co-host.
Yeah.
Hey, I wanted to make sure you knew where you were going.
Anyway, see that right there? There's a fuzzy spot that's right there.
Yeah, so if you.
Yes.
It's on the lens.
I'll be darned.
See that?
Oh, wow.
Or the.
And where's the lens?
I'm a tech guy, but right in here, there's someone put left fingerprints on.
Okay,
it.
so just.
Right there. Then lens.
So,
It's like.
So it's gonna pull into that fence.
It's more running lights, sight lenses.
The one that kind of dissipates the moisture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic, thank you.
that should work. Good.
I'll do that in fact. I've got it on the previous.
And then Mike, this is the wild card, but. The slideshow on here, I'm hoping Gail does from there, but there's no way to.
If Gail is the co-host, she could do the slideshow right off of her computer. And as soon as she gets on here, I'll make her a co-host.
But I can't do it from here with this external one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would have to be, I have Wi-Fi though. I could connect you to Wi-Fi and then if you want to join the meeting and then I can make you a co-host.
And then just mute this one.
Yeah.
There's no feedback.
You'd have to mute the
Yeah.
audio.
Yeah.
Or if you have a thumb drive, I can put it right in there. Okay,
Okay, I'm just, Gail is not responding. She wanted to do it.
just in case, we'll do that as a
Thank you,
backup.
Mike, that's great.
Okay, and I'm gonna go clean this, and if your thing works, we're gonna hire another guy. And maybe you could come here as a consultant.
I no longer own the tech company, but I dealt with people for it. Like, all my-
What is it?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess, and then I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah.
Before you do what you do.
Okay.
But these are the.
Okay, you pay that?
What?
Yeah, it's just, so the three of us are gonna get together and for, through, for whatever, but the car.
The organization underneath the code that used to be what
Okay.
Terror Alert, but it also basically brought all of us together around the rails. But they informed the new left meetings, which is our
Okay.
preparedness group over the co-ed website as well. They don't pay attention to the regulations that they need, all the stuff. But I can help you. Like, reactivate the
Yeah,
media around the.
that would be great. Oh, thank you very much.
It's all lowercase.
Okay.
And I gave you the check for the.
Yeah, but these two are very business oriented. Yeah.
We said this guy, got the guy came down here twice to do this. So it says words, I'm like, oh my goodness.
You're tired.
Yeah, close to that edge, because it's got a very subtle edge there, that I think. Use it more than,
One thing.
so right now you're still. Yeah, you're getting cleaner, right now you can actually see the moisture on it,
So
Yeah,
so it's gotta be able to dry,
I sent an email.
that's
So
why I
if that
usually buff
means
them with
something
the dry,
this time,
those,
those are actually made by
the-
May.
when you're.
So
Doctor
May
usually gives
was
you the
under
wipe after you spray it,
I made an email today, so we can compare
it's getting better though.
pricing and see what it is. and
I'll leave
the
that right there. Let it
price
dry.
tomorrow.
It's gonna dry. And if anything.
I did find a
take
bag.
a pill and just slightly polish it.
In the bag.
I think I got that blue thing.
Yeah.
But we'll-
That's what I'll do right now, it's all
And we'll compare the two and we'll see what is.
with the, heat comes off those.
Yes, yeah, and then, yeah. You got that.
Oh, look at that, it's already cleared out.
Yeah, those are actually hot cameras, so they should be cleaning usually. You wanna buff them?
Maybe we should see if. Lines when he goes to
Yeah.
Okay.
We could actually go and use the room up.
Get
there
better.
and possibly we could go to Oakshire and.
At least it doesn't have any grease in it.
Need someone to figure out. I don't think, it's not that difficult to run that once you get it, right? The city actually gives lessons. If we put in ahead of time, we are welcome to go to the city and use a city building, and I think you can borrow that. Cindy Kohler told me they have some kind of program.
If you have it here, we could just set it up for you. I mean, it's not, we like having you here.
Yeah, and we wanna be here. That's. Hey, what's up, Barbie?
Okay, so what you're
Good.
gonna do, you're just gonna want to join the meeting.
I will, yeah. Gail said she's gonna go test things out, so we have two ways to do it, so perfect. I'll just join the meeting, mute everything, and then it'll run there. Thank you.
I'll make you a co-host.
Oh,
Mike, have you, met Barbie? She's running for city council. This is Mike, he's our host. The third party. Familiar, just a little while, and I saw the name, and he's like.
You just keep going.
We compare things anymore. And like, no, this was never. We compared it, so we gotta get, that funding into another funding. Theater entertainment,
Right, there is,
but they're not doing these ones anymore.
well, it's funny, because there are so much. Probably free and double supply of very little, you know, one of these big phone bags. And hey, Joy. You know. Folks, you know. Playing. So there's nothing for easy preparedness. We're actually building our own kit.
Hi, Derek. People are just joining.
We have to let them in, even though we
Oh, so.
Peter has.
got that fuzzy thing in his phone. We also put something
Well, he said we'll get his buffer, nothing else from my. It's it's the leftovers of the cleaner at the bottom. Cause basically it's sloped and it collects at the bottom. And
Hi, Derek.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. I was gonna call you yesterday, but it was a crazy day.
What were you going to call me?
Well, I can't say it on live TV.
Okay. Okay. Enhance, enhance.
I mean, it's not the greatest, but. Thank you.
Anyone good? If you don't mind.
Run ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna give it about 4 more minutes and then we're gonna start letting people in. I'll just let you in. Cause you're on the board. Are you gonna stick with us today? Eric?
Yes.
No.
If I am the only one in there, I could hide if you want.
No.
Now the only thing we got is light refraction from the,
What does it look like on the screen to you? Do you just see a big room full of people?
There is 3 screens here. I've got a room full of people. I've got a camera on a gentleman. I got you and I got me. It's pretty,
Interesting, huh?
I'll zip this to you.
Just if you
Yeah.
change your name.
$500, you got ad credit on LinkedIn,
No.
$500.
ad credit on LinkedIn. I'm just-
Have you guys used, anything on LinkedIn to get that?
No, we're not paying anything, just use it to network and. You know, we put our videos on there and agendas and as we release. Things regarding the grant, we'll put those on there, and if people want to be involved, then. We hope that they step forward and do that.
So that's under Whitaker neighborhood? Or,
Yeah, it's Whitaker Community Council. Yeah, please follow us. Send us a request.
Oh, by the way,
Hi, Thomas.
you'll be on. We call, please.
So I did get a message from Thea that she has people out of town and she's been swamped with the clay fest in tomorrow. So I don't know. We already have more people than we had here last year, so that's a great one. Did you come for the election when Delaney was here?
Was I here?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Right. So it was the time before, it's the year before that when you and I.
Oh, it was great, yeah.
So I did leave, I made a sign-in sheet, if anyone does come. That people can sign in and I put their email. I am going to say. During my, just so that you know, I'm gonna tell people that we're looking for volunteers and that they put their email in the chat.
you have 12
Okay, then don't.
followers now, 13 with me.
Thank you,
I'm gonna increase that by a bit.
thank you.
Margaret. Chelsea's gonna stay and Matt's gonna stay. I've been here since 8, so I'm gonna leave. here in a little
Okay.
bit. But all you have to do is just click that off, click it out, and see that red button right there?
Just a second, let's get your-
Just flip that switch.
Okay, so just turn the computer off and flip that switch
Don't even turn the computer off.
done.
Just close out of this, leave the computer
Oh.
on and just flip that switch, and that's it.
Okay, great.
Just go ahead, Gail's on the other line.
I just let,
That's okay. Why don't we just, Gail, you can,
I'll wait till this is situated first before I go though.
well, I think, Gail, can you repeat your question for Mike and Margaret?
I need to know what email and password to use to log into the proper account to start tonight's meeting.
We've already started it. You just need to join the meeting and then we're gonna make you co-host. Right now, we did start it and we are the host. I'm gonna pass that torch on to you once you join the meeting. Okay. Mhm. Okay,
sorry,
we've got the power till we hand it over.
sorry.
And
And
if you
we're gonna hand it over.
And if you want to get loud, all you have to do is push this little button where it turns green.
Oh,
Then you can-
gosh.
Then you can start doing your karaoke. Sorry, I'll be leaving soon.
No, you're good. Let me just get Gail in here.
Almost there, Kelsey. Be more little,
Hi, Chelsea.
more little.
I'm learning too, although I don't really want to know if you want to know the truth. Actually, it's pretty obvious, I think. So I appreciate everybody's patience tonight. We are just waiting for Gail to sign in. And she is going to run the Zoom part of the meeting. What's going on? All right, here she is. Okay, so
As soon as she joins,
how do we make her the co-host?
as soon as her name comes up and she's a full. Here,
She's joining right now. So just so everyone knows, before I sign it over to Gail, I am going to start the recording.
And as soon as you're ready, I'll take over and I'll make her.
Okay, please make her the co-host. Thank you all very much.
Sorry about the delay, y'all. I'm having technical difficulties, but I think I've got it figured it out.
There you go, loud and clear.
Okay, she's co-host.
I muted everyone on there.
Maybe I'll.
Unmute them and to mute themselves.
No, they can hear.
They can.
Doriandra, I have your presentation queued for when the time comes.
You let me know when you're ready, Gail.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were waiting for me. What do you need me to do?
I just, are you ready to run the Zoom portion of the meeting? Because we don't have to do anything here.
Oh.
Because you are in charge.
Okay, I got it.
Okay,
Zoom
Gail.
people, I'm with you. If you want to speak, let me know in the chat and I'll make sure it
Great.
happens.
So everybody, welcome to our first hybrid meeting. This is our general meeting, October 11th. My name is Margaret. I'm the chair of the Whitaker Community Council. We actually have a few people that are here, which is great. We're at the Mission and they have been kind enough to host us tonight, so we're really excited about that. So let's open up the first 10 minutes, to public comment. Does anyone have public comment? One thing, sorry, Gail, if you would like to speak, please raise your hand, including the people in the room. Because she can see you, so please raise your hand. If you look below, those of you that are on Zoom, there's some controls on the bottom where you can raise your hand in there on the computer, or you can just raise your hand and she'll let you know, and she will put you in the chat on the side and she'll create a queue with their question. Did I miss anything? I think we're pretty good to go. I'm excited to be here. So, do we have any public comment? Stephen, you're muted.
I think so. I'm not showing as muted here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, on behalf of those on Zoom, could you give us an idea how many people are there physically?
There's 6 of us. 7.
Great, thank you.
Because I did have someone that works here ask me if they could be involved in the board and be on one of our committees. And I said, absolutely.
Thank you.
Claire is in the queue.
Thank you so much, Gail. Hello, everybody. I just wanted to give a plug for an event happening this Saturday. Shift Community Cycles, which is inside the Whitaker, just across the street from Beer Garden at Monroe and 6th, is having a bike ride to the Beam Bright Parade, which is happening downtown. It's going to be awesome. We're going to meet at 5 p.m. at Shift Community Cycles. Folks are encouraged to decorate their bike and fun and bright decorations if you have them, and yeah, come ride with us. We're gonna meet at 5 p.m. at Shift and roll out at 6:30 p.m. to participate in the Beam Bright Parade.
Fantastic. We've gotten several emails actually about that. I forwarded them on, but it looks like it will be a lot of fun. Is there any other public comment? Okay, moving right along. I just want to give a quick update. I had received notice that some people received their letter from the WCC and some people did not. So I think it's really important that we keep up on our updates and exactly, you know, what we've done and what's happened. And Doriandra, could you stand up for just a minute? Just so everyone really knows. Come on, stand up. I want to, Doriandra has done such an incredible job of helping lead us through several grants. We finished up shortly not too long ago was Housing and Healthcare in partnership with OHA and the Whitaker Community Council. We provided over $235,000 in rental assistance. That actually helped 61 families. 45 kids were kept stabilized in their homes, offering their education, communities, improving personal group of mental health. 11 families were halted their eviction. 9 families in total were moved out of their cars and moved into a stable living situation. We also have done a lot of art in Whitaker, as I'm sure last year a lot of you saw the murals that we painted around. And Doriandra as well was in charge with that, in partnership with the CDC. We painted large-scale vaccine confidence murals on 6 intersections and 3 crosswalks with the help of community volunteers, which is something that we really want to talk about today. It's volunteers, volunteers, volunteers. We have a couple of things that that have come around that, you know, sometimes it's fun to be involved in what's happening. We also built the free art wall which was sanctioned by the city of Eugene. We did, I don't know how many of you did the art installation phone booth, but Brianna and I did that together at Oakshire. And we spent an evening there and it was a blast. We actually ended up with a mural on the library, and each of us were picked, and they didn't know that we were even, together, meaning that we were hanging out there and that we were part of the WCC, but they picked both of our stories and put them outside of the library. So that was really exciting to happen. And we commissioned local artists to create Vaccine is Confidence and 2020 yard art signs, which you can still see around the neighborhood. And right now, we are just getting started with the Oregon Health Authority with the Whitaker Emergency Preparedness and Disaster Resilience Grant. As a matter of fact, we do have a representative from CERT here tonight, which is great. We're really excited to see what he has to say. So I received an interesting email. I don't know if you all got in your email today and you read about they're moving along with the dog park in Washington Jefferson Park. And I know that many people in the community are excited about it. So the Washington Jefferson Neighborhood Association reached out to me this afternoon and said, they're on one side, we're on the other. They would love to do something joint together with that dog park and really be involved with what the city does there. And they think that the Whitaker Community Council and the Washington Jefferson Community Council together, that we'll be a little bit stronger and that we can make some fantastic things happen there. So in speaking to him, they reach out to their community and they ask people that live in the area, that are vested in what's happening there, that live near there, to participate and to be part of those committees and just go to the city with what we feel like will work with us, will work for us and work for the city at the same time. So if there's anyone I can't really see who all is signed in, but please, if you're interested in joining the committee about the dog park, put your name, email address in the chat and just put dog park. If you're interested in participating in the emergency preparedness and disaster grant, please put your name in the chat. You don't have to be on the board. All we ask is that you work, live our own property in the Whitaker. One nice thing as well is as far as being on a committee is that you have an opportunity to vote on that committee with what happens. And you have a direct say on what happens in our community. And so, we really, really think that it's a great idea that we all start to do that. I still have 5 more minutes. Yes, Gail, are there any questions?
Thank you, Margaret. I just wanted to add that one of the most important things that the Whitaker Community Council does is decide what we should make priorities in our own neighborhood. And what that means is that when we get money, or when we decide to go get money, we can do that with an eye to addressing problems or meeting needs. But we can only do the work that we do if community members want us to. And the way that you show us that you want us to is by joining us, because there are only a few of us and there are a lot more people who live here. So if you don't have great interest in joining either the preparedness committee or the committee to talk about the dog park, think about what it is you would like to see some movement on, and then bring those things to us as a committee and as a council, and we will create a new committee and you can help that happen. And being on a committee, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean spending every moment of your life doing things. It means that you meet sometimes and you talk about things and you get to express your opinion, and as Margaret said, you get to vote on what is going to happen. And then as a council, we support the work of the committees and we act as oversight to make sure that your needs are met and that we meet the same goals and we're all on the same page. But without community involvement, without actual volunteers, without people who are willing to step forward, we're really limited. There's only so much that we can do because each of us is already committed to these meetings twice a month, in addition to whatever other work we're doing in the community. So I really want to empower everybody who's shown up today who isn't on the council, but also everyone who is on the council and isn't doing more than just meetings, to ask themselves if there's space in their lives, in their time, that they could commit to helping us make the Whitaker a much better neighborhood. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. Do we have any more comments or questions about that? How do people feel about doing a joint committee with Washington Jefferson? They reached out to us. I mean, I think that's a great idea. Is there any comments regarding that? Stephen, you have nothing to say?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Okay, fantastic. So we actually have a couple more people have arrived, and we do have Jennifer Denson who is here. She is the
Whatever.
executive director of the Burrito Breakfast Waste Brigade. They have a lot going on.
That's a lot.
It is.
So I'm here, thank you, Whitaker Community Council, for having an update. So last I spoke, we were waiting for our Lane County permit to pass, so we are a commercial kitchen. We have taken Breakfast Brigade under to be able to prepare meals at our location. The update is, as most of you have saw on Facebook, I'm sure that Whitebird is taking 18 months to remodel the 12th and High location, which is going to pause food. The impact for Whitaker will be that we are offering, they went from 7 days a week to 8 hours a day of feeding people to 0. So we have offered, they are going to do their hygiene outreach at Monday and Wednesdays at the dining room, but we have offered sandwiches Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at WJ Park, where we already have a permit for Breakfast Brigade. That will impact, obviously, the Whitaker neighborhood. We are going to offer a sandwich and a bottle of water because most people could get a meal at Whitebird, as most of you know, and now that is on pause for 18 months. So we are not willing to do 7 days a week. So our agreement with Whitebird right now is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will present burrito, sandwich, and a bottle of water. Whitebird is going to try to be there starting next weekend with their ban to offer email and hygiene. So, yeah, that is my update. We have got forward with the kitchen. So the hope is that we can bring a couple more groups to be able to use our kitchen successfully. But the biggest impact on the Whitaker probably will be the fact that we are adding a day of service to WJ Park, because there is no other option now. The dining room is awesome and does Monday through Thursday, but that means there's no lunch service Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, besides Burrito Brigade and Breakfast Brigade. So we're going to offer a sandwich with a burrito and a bottle of water. The first experiment is this weekend. Please feel free to reach out to me if you feel like you have any comments. We are kind of gonna roll with punches because it sounds like most of the people at Whitebird didn't really know about the remodel until about a couple weeks before. So, 12th and High is obviously a huge impact. Most of you know that it's been a huge part of the community, and for them to be on pause for 18 months is going to be my update. Wow. Oh, so many hands. Okay.
Can you put us all in the queue?
Okay. Go up at once.
It's funny because here, just so you know, it's not rolling. I can't see the comment.
Oh.
Can you see us all, Gail?
Honestly, I cannot see the people in the room. So, Margaret, you're going to have to start with the people in the room, get those comments, and then we'll come to the people here in Zoom and we'll get the comments here. We're going to have to go back and forth because all I can see is little teeny tiny heads spread out across the room.
Okay, so we have Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
We have, she's gonna put the names in the, are you gonna put them in the queue?
Andrew, Barbie, and Margaret.
Yeah, Andrew, Barbie, Margaret, anybody else?
I think it was it in the room.
And Leandra.
Okay.
That's in the room. Does anyone else have any questions that's online? And Gail?
Andrew.
Okay, Drew.
So I've noticed that there's been some new regarding recycling receptacles in and around Washington Jackson. And this is a big hot topic in our previous meeting. I'm just wondering if your organization is responsible for those for all props to their game.
I think it's Parks and Rec because we now pay a permit fee. Yeah, I know. But we do, Breakfast Brigade does put cardboard over all the trash and recycle, and we court out all of our trash.
There you go. Well, as a next door neighborhood, to the neighborhood of the park, I'm very.
Yeah, we're gonna move a table to see if it makes a difference with the volume and with who you could see.
Okay. Well, Barbie next, Barbie,
Yeah,
your hands up.
can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, okay. My question is, the other Whitebird sites, have they kind of stepped up, maybe to take the load off of you guys? I know there's a dental site that's off of Pearl, but that might not be what their business model is.
Right,
Yeah.
so it's because they're remodeling 12th and High, it has nothing to do with the food part, it just means they are putting everything on pause while they remodel the building. They are kind of going with the flow every day, so they called me, asked me where I could meet. I did not agree to 7 days a week, I agreed to weekend, because I can get volunteers to make a meat and cheese sandwich while we're packing burritos and a bottle of water, because we're already going to the weekend. I can't do 7 days a week.
I know the Whitebird sites aren't available.
No, yeah, okay, so the plan is that they're gonna meet the dining room twice a week, they got okay from Goochland County to bring the bus for 5 feet twice a week. And then they're gonna meet us at WCC Park Friday, Saturday. Thank you.
Okay,
Who's next? Somebody put.
is it me that's next?
Margaret, you're next.
Margaret, you're next.
So, number one, I wanna ask you, is there anything that the Woodford Community Council could do? To me, it seems a little crazy that we're going into winter
Yeah,
and this is happening.
I mean-
Is there anything that the WCC can do to assist you in what you're doing?
so we have the funds for the sandwiches and we have the funds for hand warmers. Honestly, if maybe once a month, some people want to take some shifts. So we've agreed to only 1:30 to 2:30, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Anybody has it in their work schedule to come and hang out at the table, that would probably be the best. We have the funds for the hand warmers and ponchos and sandwiches, but really having somebody hang out at the table is kind of where we're in need.
And if you send me if you make a flyer or something like that, you send it, the WCC will post it,
Right.
will, do whatever. we
It's
can.
it's kind of like been a rolling, I've been talking really well with the hospitality person from Whitebird. We found out that like St. Mary's sandwiches can't come directly to us because they're a Food Plain County and breakfast is a Food Plain County partner. And we can't cross food. So we've actually been like almost talking every day to kind of brainstorm it. So just today, we have figured out that, okay, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so we're gonna make flyers. They can't even start bringing the bus out until next weekend, so we're only gonna do burritos and sandwiches Saturday and Sunday this weekend. So it's it's 18 months of something that has been every day of the week, so it's probably gonna continue to change. And we're talking about 2 winters in the winter thing.
they could get a hot meal at White.
Correct.
So, yeah, I will, when I have more details, I will send you, but yeah, I think the biggest need would just be maybe a weekend shift where you pass out a burrito or a sandwich.
Okay, fantastic. And, Mariandra?
I was just gonna ask you, are you in the same location where you normally serve?
Yeah, so yes, we got the permit for Fifth and Washington, which is where the parking pullout is, so that is where our 1-year permit is.
Okay.
So we are going to do sandwiches. We're going to continue our sandwich, our lunch pop-up at the same location we did.
We have an event planned, for planning the event there too.
Oh. On the weekend?
Yeah, but nothing.
Okay.
No, but we did, you got,
Yeah.
I sent an email between the
Yeah.
two of you.
Yeah.
For us to try, I think it would be great if we could coordinate and all do something together.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, and Gail. Are you done, Bree?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. I want to start out by saying that it is really difficult for those of us on Zoom to understand what's being said in the room. The microphones are far away, and unless somebody's really close to it and speaking slowly and clearly, I think we've missed a lot of the questions, and we've gotten most of the answers. Thank you very much for being close to the microphone. So, I might be
Did you
in.
hear me?
Now I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic.
So yeah, using the mic will be helpful. So at the risk of repeating a question that's already been asked, but because I want to be sure that the computer can hear it and get it into our minutes, what is the plan to help deal with the problem of trash in the neighborhood following Burrito Brigade's lunch feeding? And also, I just want to say thank you so much for stepping into this space. That building that Whitebird is renovating is ancient and crumbling, and they absolutely have to do it because it's become a danger to the people who are working in it. So it's tragic that it's going to take 18 months. So thank you for stepping up. But again, I think Andrew asked about the trash, but and again, we couldn't hear it. So what is the plan with that?
So right now, the plan is, I mean, I know Margaret had expressed the trash comes down 4th Alley. So right now, what we're doing is we're putting big lids over the Whitaker or the trashes that is in the park currently, and then we quart out all our trash, and then we have trash cans at multiple corners. So we're doing our best, but I know that it's difficult because people take something. Right now we're making as little as possible, so the weekend lunch thing is a compostable bag that the sandwich is in, and then the burrito is in a foil. So we are trying to make as little trash for the lunch as possible, but I know that last time I was on the call, the biggest complaint is there is a lot of trash that leaves, even though we quart out all of our trash at the end of every breakfast. There are people that still leave with trash. We're doing our best. We're still trying to get volunteers to do what Margaret had suggested for Valley, and we're doing our best. I mean, it's hard because we are going into fall/winter when it's gross, and but I'm happy to pass on any comments that you see certain spots of the Whitaker, because we're still doing our best for the park that we're serving. But again, we're trying to make as little as possible this lunch pop-up to be very little trash. It's a compostable sandwich bag and a burrito wrapped in foil so that it's very little impact.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I have a follow-up question, which is, would you be interested in partnering with the WCC to maybe try some more creative trash solutions, such as I know some communities offer a small reward, like a $5 gift card, if individuals go with a trash bag and fill it up and bring it back during the time where things are being given away, or take it and bring it back the next time. And if that's something that you might be interested in talking about, that or something similar to it, could we maybe make time to meet about that, or is that outside of what your capacity is? Because I understand you're already carrying a lot, and maybe this is one thing too many. So I'm trying to be to make a helpful suggestion, not create a new burden on you.
No, just to let you understand, Gail, you're asking if the client will be willing to walk around. I would totally be open to that and we could try it. So as, Margaret reminded me that you probably didn't hear earlier, Andrew noticed that more additional trash cans have been added to WJ Park. And, I am assuming that is because we now pay a large permit fee. And that is great. So Andrew had noticed there are more trash cans, but I would be, so we have several unhoused people that come and get food that want to be helpful, that I think that is a great idea, Gail, and I will pass that on to my breakfast team, and I will also put that on, again, this lunch thing is starting this weekend, literally this weekend, and we are gonna go, and yes, Whitebird needs to be, definitely needs to remodel, but we're probably gonna have lots of bumps and lots of learning curves to this new lunch pop-up thing that we're doing. But yes, feel free to let me know, but yes, I would be happy to let them know. We have lots of unhoused that want to be helpful when they come and get a meals. I think that's a great idea.
Are there any other questions or comments?
You mentioned the bus. What are you talking about?
Oh, so, Whitebird will use their, that's all they keep referring to as the bus. They're gonna come and meet us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, offering email and hygiene, out of the bus. I don't know if it's one of their food stands or what, but so instead of the staff being at the front desk, they're going to be on a bus. So Monday, Wednesday, they'll be at the dining room parking lot. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they'll be with us in the park. I don't know what it looks like. I assume it's a Whitebird van, but she just keeps referring to it as a bus. Good question though.
All right, do we have any other questions or comments? Fantastic. Thank you very much for all the great work that you do, and thank you for coming. Okay, next we're gonna pass it on to our wonderful program director, Doriandra. And she's gonna go over the disaster resilience program kickoff as a special guest, and there you go.
Hey, all. Gail, would you go ahead and share those slides? Thank you. Yep, my name is Dorian Smith. I'm program manager. Margaret Lisa called me director, which I'm fine with too. Amazing. Just to kind of tell you about while Gail gets this up and going for me. We are in partnership now with the Oregon Health Authority to venture off onto a new public health campaign. And our focus, of course, is this disaster resiliency. Gail, will you go to the next slide? So yeah, I don't want to bore everybody, but just when we're thinking about just a couple of quick questions to kind of round this into section. How can we do this? We're right now in the process of identifying the base models of emergency planning around us, with Eugene, Lane County. And I'm really trying to restructure it to accommodate the specific needs of the Whitaker. We have met now with an excellent fresh committee for the Public Health and Safety Committee. We've got Stephen Fuller, Julie Bowman, Thea Lee, Margaret, Drew, see who am I forgetting? I think that's it. Oh, and Megan Campbell, we're really excited to have her join us. So we've kind of worked to identify down some of the main resources that we needed, and I'll be working to form partnerships with other community-based organizations that will co-locate these relief services and models. So I hope that our final outcome in the full biennium process of this grant will be a committed plan for emergency preparedness that can be localized to our Whitaker community. So next slide, Gail. Thank you. We worked with our committee to identify our really main levels of focus, and it seems that train derailment is something that just is terrifying. This is a photo of the one that was most recent. I don't know, or, oh my. Thank you. I missed those, I flip those constantly. We've got a lot of issues with this one and it's going to be hard to tackle this. Luckily, we've got some incredible partners in the works that know about hazmat. So we'll be working with them soon. Next slide, please. This, I love this little graph here because I think we tend to underestimate the profundity of this earthquake when it does happen. It's so interesting, it shows that pretty much the average, those 9 points are really high. So it's something to consider. When we do have this, we'll be dealing with structural damages and power outage. We'll have our bridges collapse. And I think one of the main things we need to think about in terms of building a resilient place where we are sheltered in place is that whatever gas you have in the tank is all you will have, because we are reliant on the state of Washington for our gas. We're in a very delicate area here where that main area where the gas and resources pipelines where it's all stored will just kind of liquefy because of the soil that it is on. So that immediately renders our rivers quite contaminated. So again, it's really, when we're looking at this program and how we build it, we're really needing to be very close and tight here in the Whitaker for our immediate sources of relief and supply. So next slide, please. This is, oh, can't see it on this, but this is a really neat resource for folks. If you go on our city government pages, we can find this. It's a new updated FEMA map that's pretty shocking how we're right here, we're right with it. So this is something we can expect to happen as a result of the Cascadia subduction. So the one that we left out is fire because we didn't leave it out. I left it out because it's just a daunting topic. So we'll move on to the next one now that we're all scared. What would this plan look like? So this is where we're starting to really dial down, and the two modalities that I think we're going to do well to focus on are the resource mapping with support from businesses. My goal is to have eventually in the Whitaker, everybody owning a simple laminated card that goes on their refrigerator. And with the support of our businesses, we're going to know where we go to get a solar charge on a phone. So you can call your out-of-state contact. It will be at a brewery. It will be at a restaurant. We're also going to have these services where, okay, the dog has run down the street. Who's going to take it? I mean, where do we take it? And we will just know. People will know where to go. So by mapping these simple things, we'll have immediate sourcing that will support while we wait out for bigger help or just while we learn to wait it out. It could take months for support. The other major part of this is the mapping with the neighborhood pods. We're super excited to have Megan Kemple working with us to learn the Map Your Neighborhood process, which is a quick, small area that you can canvas within an hour. You get to know who your people are there, what skills they have, who knows how to go off and shut off the gas meter. Somebody will know where the gas meter is on your house. That's an incredibly quick resource map that we can rely on if we build these consistent pods. Also, it's an incredible opportunity because we have a high number of seniors. We have many elderly. We have folks with special needs and challenges. So creating these neighborhood mappings will kind of isolate, well, who's going to go help so-and-so quickly. And I think that'll be a really intense, strong point, which really carries forth the care that the Whitaker does with neighbors. So, okay, let's go to the next one, Gail. Program goals. Yeah, I think if we focus on these three elements, we will have come up with a really good plan. Community engaged and educated with tangible plans, resources, dedicated citizen group that can support vulnerable community members who should be prioritized during crisis, and then a greater network of partners, artists, and community leaders who will advocate and communicate a clear public health message about our emergency preparedness. So next one, Gail. How do we start? I think if we begin to just start on a small level with our immediate family, building a communication plan is essential. This thing could happen tomorrow. How are you going to find your child? How will your elderly know where to go? So these communication plans are essential, and we'll be posting soon a whole series of things on our social media channels, which will help guide folks immediately to easy resourcing on how to do these. Second, of course, is your emergency food and home supply. That seems daunting. I'm really proud of the eWeb situation they've got. If you look at that, they have a kind of a committed plan that helps you go week by week that can let you add elements in as budget applies. Our third thing I think we should start on now is looking at biking as an alternative transportation method. We're a strong biking neighborhood, community, and city. And when we lose ability to mobilize across our normal streets, biking will be kind of king, which, so looking at that now is super helpful. Again, yeah, follow us on WCC. We're really excited to start really promoting planning guides, the resources that I mentioned. And also, please save the date. We have a neat event that we're going to do. It'll be our first disaster resiliency program event. Hopefully, we're waiting for some confirmation from the city, but we hope to have it in Washington Jefferson Park. We'll have a lot of neat representatives from our local emergency planning there. We hope to begin a Go Bag program where we can help send folks home with a basic Go Bag and a gift card that will enable someone to go and get additional resources that are specific to their family needs. And also, lastly, just networking your community. Next slide. This is our upcoming fun statewide shakeout. This will be October 19th, and it will be at 10:19 a.m. So there's a lot of ways in the community that we can prepare for that. What is it? Yeah. Oh, it's earthquake drill. Yeah, it's pretty big. So yeah, posted it on our WCC site, and I put the business manual attached there in the comments, because this will be a great opportunity for businesses to look at that and figure out what we will do and how employees will function in that state of panic. It's really fun materials too. You can actually download realistic horrifying sounds of things crashing and whatnot. So if you really want to have fun. So and lastly, last slide, Gail, thank you so much. This to me seems to really be the most important thing, empowering, that people can do immediately. And so I want to bring on our guest speaker, Thomas Price. So thank you for coming. I'll let him give his intro. He's quite accomplished and there was a lot. So please join through.
Okay, thank you for inviting me, and thank you guys for taking on the challenge of doing the work of preparedness. You can't be prepared for everything, but you can, if you try to be prepared for something, you'll be more prepared for anything that comes. The CERT program is a national program. It started out basically as a response to the California disasters and other disasters that, so like the earthquakes in California. In the first 72 hours, more people got injured after the earthquake, not the actual earthquake, but from getting hurt, either trying to help people or trying to do things that were different, because once you have a disaster, things are not status quo, so you can injure yourself quite easily. So the CERT program aims at trying to give all the people in the community the basic skills and knowledge for when responding, how do you be safe, and then how do you effectively help your neighbors. And so really it's about neighbors helping neighbors, but given a baseline education that you can then use and create what are called CERT teams, the community emergency response teams. And your director or whatever title it here, as well as the other lady mentioned around Map Your Neighborhood have taken this training. It doesn't make you a firefighter, it doesn't make you EMT or medic, but it teaches you the basic stuff so that in that first 72 hours, you have skills and ability to help your neighbor when fire and EMS are not going to be as readily available to you. And yes, in your city, you will not always have fire and EMS available, especially if there's something big that happened, including the train derailment that was pointed out. I'm not sure if there's any specifics you want me to go into. Much of each of those PowerPoint presentations you talked about, we try to teach little bits and pieces about in the CERT program. I can talk to each at length because that's my profession. I've also given her a whole bunch of tools that we hand out as part of the CERT program. And everything from being 2 weeks ready, which is a kind of a standard now, to 72-hour preparedness is used to be the old standard. 2 weeks ready now is the main standard, because just like she said, if we have an earthquake, most of your electricity and all of your gas come through the alluvial plain from Portland and that metro area. That alluvial plain will have structural fatigue and you won't be able to get stuff through there. That being said, many of the long bridges or long highways will also be disrupted because the large amplitude earthquake is different than California earthquakes, and it likes to impact large buildings, large facilities, and it will move earth quite differently than California.
How is that?
How is that?
Yeah.
Basically, it's a longer amplitude earthquake, shakes longer, it lasts longer. If you study Chile, that's what we have off our coast. Chile just happened to have that same subduction zone plate happen faster than we do.
Was it more of a rolling kind of shaking?
There's YouTube videos online that I can bring you to show that. I can't effectively, it's the amplitude thing is quite a bit of difference. And I'd love to share one of those with you. There's a lot of this stuff that we can do here in small workshops throughout the next year, but CERT program is separate from that. This is CERT's a base education. Nowadays, since COVID, we started you out online, give you the base education through Utah, and then we bring you to the real field across to Chambers there on Second and Chambers, work through the ins and outs and questions you have from the base training, give you some actual practical skills and practical practice of these skills. And then we do ongoing monthly trainings, usually just across the street here at the Station 2 fire station.
Right, thank you. Thank you, yeah, and I will say that his training is excellent. The things that you take away from it become almost muscle memory in crisis. I was a CERT trained person in another state for years, and I was somewhere in London and somebody had a medical crisis, and I was shocked that I just remembered the basics, and it was astonishing to be of service in that way. So where Thomas is the trainer here in our local Eugene Springfield CERT, it's really quite an adventure to be able to be at the fire training station there. You are actually involved in, you're actually physically putting out fires, you're learning how to go into buildings, assess damage. There's actual training buildings, so it's really a muscle memory thing that you'll take on and be of assistance later if you find yourself in crisis. So I strongly recommend it. The modules are easy, trainers are great. There's a real sense of community. They do meetings, is it the first Thursday every month? So there was one meeting, for instance, that was about canning food. There was one that sadly I had to miss last week, about the communication that we'll be using with radios, just basic small family style radios, how that works, how that logistic chain then goes up to higher levels of communication and finally reaching top responders when That well said, that kind of stuff.
Good enough.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I need some remember.
It's basically how to help your neighborhood communicate with those in charge so that you might get help faster.
So, yeah, thank you so much. Any questions? For Thomas or I?
I have a question. So are we all gonna have an opportunity as a group to go take cert training? Can you make that happen for us, Brianna?
I will send you the next dates for it.
Okay,
Um,
maybe as the committee for.
Yeah.
It would be fun for us all to go and take that training together. If we're gonna work together and
that
we're
would
gonna
be great.
brainstorm, we'll all be on the same.
That's a
Wow.
great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
And just insider information, we've got a facility right across from the fire station that we'll be using to do some extra training. That we haven't passed, so you get the cert training sooner than later, which you can actually do the online even before we hold the next class. So at any time, simply do that online portion, which will give us a queue of how many people we need to train. We can do training as soon as we got people, so if you sign up, that gives us a list. We have a list for planning the next training. Right now, we're targeting end of February or end of January, February, but those things can adjust. We do them at least twice a month or twice. We at least do them every 6 months, twice a year. Right that time. But we can do them faster and more. We have enough people. And right now, we're also sending people off to get the trainer, become trainers like myself.
fantastic. Can you get together the link to send us to do the online?
I will do that.
Thank you very much. All right, are there any questions? Any questions for Doriandra, for? Can you please repeat?
Oh, yeah. I'm looking at the chat there and just want to speak to that OHA grant that dropped today, would likely cover it. I think what you mean by that, Jen, it is true, the OHA just sent out a new announcement today for a series of public health modernization grants that run the gamut from climate adaptability, health of wells, water wells, also emergency planning inside of that. Whitaker Community Council is not eligible for me to submit for that new grant since we are already part of the grant cohort 1. But it is, thank you for bringing that up, Jen, because other CBOs or organizations that want to mobilize and be part of that grant cohort 2, this is a good time to do it. So if anybody needs some information about that, I'd be happy to help. So maybe write to Margaret and I can pass on that info if you need it.
So how long is the grant that we have now good for Doriandra?
The grant that we're working with now is going through June of 2025.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
that point, we'll be reapplying for a new public health modernization project grant, and the sky's the limit as to what we choose to do then.
all right. Thank you very much. Bravo. Just so you know, I asked Doriandra just 2 days ago to please throw that together, and you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Okay, so I know that there's been a lot of talk about Strawberry Gardens. There's been meetings, we have not been able to make them all. There's talk about changing the park, about not changing the park. About if we're gonna get a restroom or not, what that looks like. So Julie actually went and represented the WCC. So Julie had sat on a couple of committees. And she went and represented the WCC at the last meeting about Clover Park that happened at the hybrid, and took some incredible notes and sent them all to us. And so she's gonna give a little presentation about what happened there and catch us all up to date.
All right. So I'm Julie Bowman and I'm a neighborhood volunteer. I live at 318 Adams. I am one of the people who coordinated activities at Silver Gardens this summer. We did a bunch of fantastic concerts and we did the yard games in the park and the ice cream social in the summer. And I went down to I've been to 2 of the 3 city meetings. The most recent was September 19th. And it was held in the Highway Gallery at 3rd and Adams. So I went to that meeting and took some great notes from my personal interest and made a report to the WCC. Other neighborhood members were there. I believe they were my impression of the meeting. I did take some pictures of the 2 plans currently under proposal from the city. My opinion is that the city has done a really good job of trying to take all the various opinions of the Whitaker into account. I learned some cool things about the park. Silver Gardens was established 40 years ago. It's unique in city parks in that it's surrounded on 3 sides by residential neighborhood. And it has a small dog leg in the southwest corner. I don't think any other city park figured in that. Part of their presentation was based on a called coexistence in public space, engagement tools for creating shared spaces. And they used 5 tools for promoting coexistence. Spatial design, I have them. I've already understood. Oh, you come on. Okay.
Julie, we started with 1.
You can show 1 here in a second. Oh, because we all really care. Quarters are big. Bathrooms in the park, bathrooms in the wet are a big issue. But first, before we talk about the bathrooms, I want to talk about 5 tools for promoting the spatial design and environment, operations and maintenance, programming and activation, rights, rules, and accountability, and dialogue. And so those were 5 standards that we talked about. Oh, okay. Try to speak up. Sorry. See if I can do better now. That's better. 5 tools for promoting coexistence: spatial design and environment, operations and maintenance, programming and activation, rights, rules, and accountability, and dialogue. Backing up, the park was established 40 years ago. It's unique because it's surrounded on 3 sides by residential property, and it has that little dog leg in the back corner, the southwest corner. Everybody at the meeting was super interested to hear about bathrooms. Everybody in the WIT has an opinion about bathrooms in the park, where they should be located, what kind there should be. And city staff acknowledged that bathrooms in Scobert Gardens are not the only bathrooms that the Whitaker needs. We need more than 1 bathroom, right? But the renovation funds, the grant to cover renovations at Scobert Gardens are not going to cover all the bathrooms that the Whitaker needs. We have 3 design options for bathrooms at Scobert Gardens. A porta potty design. They have a newer 3-sided design. They did not show us a picture that is more resistant to abuse and being pushed over. We have a cement restroom design that would be plumbed to a sewer, kind of a traditional state park design. And we have a Portland loop. Did not get a picture of that, look it up on the internet. They're designed in Portland. I think they cost $100,000 somehow. More. Closer to $1 million. Wow. Okay, so I don't know how that works.
They are self-cleaning.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know what magic that works on. It's worth noting that somehow the sewer line that serves the park is in the back of the park along the alley. So they want to put the restroom either near the northeast entrance of the park or in the public right of way near or within sight of the park. So this is under discussion. Do we want the restroom inside the park or do we want it close to the park? If it's inside the park at the northeast entrance, we're facing trenching through the park from the sewer line in the alley. What does that look like for the trees and the tree roots? I think the general thinking by the city is that if we have a bathroom in the way back of the park, what does that do for use and possible abuse of the bathroom? These are questions. The two locations that were proposed for possible location in public right of way are near the bus stop or near the southwest corner at 4th and Blair, kind of near Nelson. Nothing is decided. They're still taking lots of input. So if you've got views on this and you haven't filled out the survey, don't have the link, but you can find it. If you've got that picture, Miranda, and you could show option 1, concept 1. So this is concept 1. Again, they're stressing that neither of these concepts are set in stone. They're open to taking portions of these two concepts and mixing them together. They're still taking input. These two concepts are not the only two choices. In both the concepts, we're going to gain 25% more park open to the public by pushing the park fence back. We're still maintaining a buffer zone. At the bottom of the screen there, that buffer zone, it says rain garden style planter. You can see the proposed fence there at the bottom. Some things that both plans show, and we'll switch to the second plan here in a minute. A permanent stage is included in both plans, which I'm personally very excited about because I'm one of the coordinators for the music. Yay for a permanent stage. To be made 18 inches high, constructed of concrete. This is providing a space for concerts. When there's no concert, it could be seating. It could be space for children to play. That area that you see called Eco Lawn in this design, it's the light green area around the edges. It's a mix of plants like clover and wildflowers that does not need to be mowed. You can see that yes, it is a lot of concrete. That is actually an excellent observation, Gail, and that was a point that was brought up by neighborhood residents. Both of these plans have a fair amount of concrete. The question was brought to the city, how much concrete is it? Nobody in the city seemed to know. A nearby neighbor had done some math and seemed to think that it was 4,000 square feet. The city was able to say that the left path, note the community garden space. Dogleg is going to become community garden in both of these plans. The left path leading to the community garden is proposed at 8 feet wide, as in wide enough for vehicles to drive on. The remainder is proposed at 5 to 6 feet wide. So a neighbor had done the math at 4,000 square feet of concrete. So positives, negatives, are we gaining? The city's response to that was we're trying to balance the need of access. So part of the reason for redoing all the path is so that people of all abilities can access all the way around. Making the plaza was argued as a space for a market and other activities to be set up. Downside, yes. Are we losing? What are we losing? For green space, this is not a huge park. We don't have a lot of green space in the Whitaker. So again, not set in stone, they're taking input. The rock garden area in the back is fenced off. Again, it's not open to the public. Great point. About the path surfaces. Maybe they could have some different surface that's not cement. The rain garden area is rocky, it's serving as drainage. The number of spaces in the community garden is to be determined. It's gated off from the general public as community garden space typically is. There are various options for management and access. Those have not been delineated. They don't know how many spaces can be. Some of the variations. Can we have the other option, concept 2? So it's worth noting that first option had a very curvy, free-form path going around. The play area in option one was split among 3 different areas. This one has a very round path with the play area in one space. The stage is a little bit different, the plaza is different. If anything, to me, this looks like more concrete in the plaza. A difference in this concept is the curveless edge idea. So this is the transition between the park and the road at 4th Avenue, where accessibility, there is no curb edge. So the idea there partly is to improve accessibility along the entire front of the park. There not needing to be any cutouts, the whole edge of the park is accessible. The point acknowledges that the play areas could be more nature focused, more traditional. We had one neighbor who did a beautiful design of their own. It wasn't colored, it was hard to see in the photo, but they put in a ton of work. It was drawn out like an architectural drawing. Some of the things that they included were a native plant garden, which I thought was fantastic, and also an exercise area. I've seen other parks that had exercise equipment free for people to use. We have space for that. They took crowd comments, including the question about the amount of concrete. One parent made the request for 1 play area rather than 3, because she said that she didn't like the idea of needing to move from area to area in order to be able to keep track of the small ones. Someone else advanced the idea that we should have the park closed from dusk to dawn and forced at the gate. After this, they did an activity allowing people who were there to show their opinions about various behaviors and how it affected your sense of safety and calm. Can you see that picture? This was interesting because it let everybody see how different we all feel about different activities and how some activities everybody agreed with. So, for example, unmanaged litter and belongings. So the scale is 1, it doesn't bother you, you might even welcome it. 5, it actively disturbs your sense of safety and calm. Obviously 2, 3, and 4 are the continuum there. Unmanaged litter and belongings, some people don't care at all, some people care a lot. Most of us are somewhere in the middle. Clearly, defecating, most all of us agree that actively disturbs our sense of safety and calm, people who were at the meeting. Lying on a bench and on the ground, most people very slightly or not at all bothered, some people more bothered. Damaging property seems to run most of the spectrum, leaning toward more bothered. Most of us are pretty bothered by physical aggression. So this is just an interesting exercise to help people who are at the meeting see that their neighbors have different views. The Whitaker has a big spectrum of behaviors that happen and behaviors that are perceived in different ways. I liked this activity. It was useful for me to see that the people around me perceive behaviors in different ways than I do. Then we came back together, we talked about this. And then we came back together and talked about who is responsible for those various aspects of coexistence. The ones I talked about at the very beginning. Who's responsible for spatial design and environment? Who is responsible for operations and maintenance? Who is responsible for programming and activation? Who is responsible for rights, rules, and accountability? And who is responsible for dialogue? This didn't make such an interesting picture because it was a lot of words and frankly, a lot of scrawling. It was more for talking than a nice visual like this. Again, opinions vary greatly. From the city is responsible for that, to everyone is responsible for that. And about then, my grilled cheese was ready. The city provided food. There's a food truck outside of it, and you can have a free grilled cheese, and mine was ready. So I ended there. Does anybody have questions?
Yeah, come on up where they can hear you, Barbie.
Hi, this is Barbie. Quick question about the playground. Is been thought of, and maybe you mentioned this and I missed it, sensory playground? For people with different disabilities and. Yeah.
I didn't hear that suggested, but it seems like a great idea. I do have one more thing. There are going to be, it's going to be one more in-person meeting expected in November. The plan is expected to be finalized this January 2024, and construction begins in 2025. So the city is really trying to hear what we want. If you've got thoughts, if this is not what you want, if there are things that you want to add to this, please take the survey. I think they've done some mailings to houses. I know that I've been emailed. I'm smart and have the link to share, but I don't. Maybe we can put that on the WCC page for people to follow.
All right. Any questions, comments? Gail?
Yes, thanks. We did not get a picture of the folks the one that was written by the neighbor, Steen, the possible design that she created.
You know what? I have it. I could send it and we could put it up. I thought.
Can we put it up? I'd really like to see it.
It's hard to see, but I have it in my phone. Let me send it to Doriandra and see if I can get it up before the meeting's over.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I'm also wondering if we could share the link to the survey in the chat here and there in the meeting, please.
So they did send a new one, today, actually. And today was a pretty busy day for me. But I will send it to the WCC and we will post it, on our Facebook page, and I will get it onto our website. Okay. All right, well, she's looking for that. Do we have any comments? It's good, we're running a little ahead of schedule. So we're gonna have one more in-person meeting next month, and then December, we don't have a meeting. We take the month of December off to celebrate with our families, or however it is that we choose to do that. And it gives us a little bit of a break, some of us anyways. So does anyone have, I do know that next month we have been working on a paper that started during COVID by a professor at Oregon State University. And it started when we were talking about the Black Lives Matter movement, and then it moved when people wanted to change the name of the neighborhood from Whitaker to something else. And so, Stephen, if you want to talk just a minute about what's going to happen next month, that would be fantastic.
Love to, yeah. The project was first discussed in June of 2020, just as the pandemic was getting started. And we agreed at that meeting that we needed to know a lot more about a history before we made any changes to names and things like that. we fairly soon after that established a relationship with a Kalapuya elder who is a professor at Oregon State, Dr. David Lewis. And we entered into a contract with him a couple of years ago, and he presented his report quite recently, and he will be at the meeting on November 8th. Is that right? Is that the community meeting in the beginning of November? November 8th. He will be here to speak to us about the study, and the study will be made available to members of the community to study. It's a history study, so it tells us all the materials that are available. It's not a narrative report, and it's about 199 pages long. There's lots of good images in it too. So November 8th, to learn about the history of the interaction between people who are here before all the settlers started arriving from the East Coast. And we know much more about settler history, but we don't know so much about interaction with the people who were here before all the settlers arrived. And that's fascinating. It's groundbreaking stuff. There's very little of this has been researched in detail before. So there's probably going to be a lot of interest around the county and in the city. And November 8th is the day to come to hear from Dr. Lewis about the study. Any questions?
That's fantastic. We're excited to have that happen. I know it started 2 years ago, so that's a great thing. Dorian?
Did you say when and where that is?
It's at the regular Whitaker community meeting, November 8th.
Good. Next time. Oh, great. Thank you.
And just so that you can all see, I know that you know, COVID is coming around a little bit again and all of that. But I mean, I don't know how many of you can see how large the room is here. And I actually know Mr. Tardy, whose office is right in there. I used to work for his dad 30 years ago. It's a small world, but they really want us to come. They want us to participate. They have a huge culinary program that is going on right now. He took me back and showed me the schedule. The Kiwanis Club is meeting here once a week and they get served breakfast. The Eugene PD is having meetings in here. They are expanding and growing, and not only is it a great space, it's large, lots of social distancing, hand sanitizer if you want, masks, all of that. But also what you're doing is you're actively participating and helping someone learn a skill that when they leave here, they can go out and get a job and support themselves. And what's happening at the mission is a huge thing. They have changed so much and done so many different things. So by us coming and having a hybrid meeting, not only do they have the equipment to host us, but we're also helping them and the people that live here. So that's really important. Gail, did you get that map? Stephen, did you have something else to say?
No, I just wanted to give a shout out to the Social Justice Subcommittee that helped with the reading of drafts and recommending changes and finding things to make the report even better. So a shout out to those who are on the committee.
Okay, Gail, did you get emailed that map? Doriander has it too, so she can.
I thought Doriandra was going to share it. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. She'll share it.
Hold on. We've got a malfunction in just a second.
And we'll definitely use the mic more next time.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I already see that it has significantly less concrete and yet still has many of the things that were included in the other, including a child area, a picnic area, which isn't on any of the others, the native plant garden,
Yep.
and I see a bike rack area with a water fountain, which is also a nice aspect that I didn't see in any of the other plans. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yes.
And I believe there's a question in the chat.
Yeah, there is, let's see. From Elizabeth France. How does one go about requesting a bulletin board go up at Slavin Park? So WCC neighbors can get the heads up about what is going on there, youth activities, exercise classes, etc. Thank you, Elizabeth.
And Elizabeth, welcome to the Whitaker. Does anyone?
That
have
is an
answers to
excellent
that?
question. I think we should talk about what the answers to it might be. But we don't have an easy answer for you right now. But thanks for the suggestion. We can put it on a future agenda and hopefully have better answers.
Yeah, Elizabeth, do you have, so if you email that to Whitaker Community Council at gmail.com. And introduce yourself, we will make an effort to find out what we could do to make that happen for you.
Will you tell
And
her?
for the neighbors.
You tell her I will email you the thing right now.
Actually, Brianna is gonna email you the thing right now. Does anyone have any questions about the other draft that we saw up park? So real quick, so that I know, so what is it that we could do next month that will make this meeting easier, except clearly we need to use the mic? Would it be better if we sat a seat up closer and had someone sit closer to the camera? Please give me suggestions. What can we do to improve the meeting as this is working, as we're trying to hybrid? Gail.
I think everyone speaking directly into the microphone will help a lot. I think if people can remember that we're trying to record this, so if they could remember to speak clearly so that the recording machine, which is a robot, will catch what they say, that would be helpful. And I do think that if folks could come into the camera range so that we can see you the way that you can see some of us, not all of us, not everybody has cameras, but I would like that because I'd like to see your faces even though I'm not there. And Stephen also has a thought.
This would be a thought for the person. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. A thought for whoever is doing what Gail is doing this evening. Just mention to people on Zoom that if they switch to speaker view, you get a much better view of the speaker and who's actually in the room at the other end. So switch from gallery to speaker view if you want a closer look.
Ooh, good tip.
You mean that we can switch that little machine from gallery to speaker?
That's what we would do, what those on Zoom would do from choice. It's not something you'd need to change at your end. It's just Zoom people, remind the Zoom people that they can change from gallery view to speaker view to get a better view of who's in the room.
And the way to do that is up in the, I don't know which direction I'm pointing on your camera, but it's the upper right corner of your screen, whichever one that is. There's a little, if you kind of move your cursor over there, a little box will pop up that has 9 little squares and it says view. And if you click on that, it will give you options and you can choose speaker instead of gallery. And then you'll only see the person who's talking, like I'm talking right now. So I'm on the speaker. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense.
It does, and hopefully we'll be able to request that you run the meeting again next month, Gail. That would be ideal for me. Because you've done this several times already. Okay.
Thanks for
I think I can do that.
job. Thanks, Gail, for this evening.
Yes, Gail, thank you so much. So much, and I know that not only will we be, but we will have Stevens guy on next month, that will also have updates with grants. We will have gotten a lot accomplished between now and then. We have a fantastic committee. If anyone is interested on being in the committee, please put your name in the chat. Like Julie, she's been involved with the board now for 2 years and she's not on it, but she lives here and she puts whatever time she wants to and does things that she's passionate about and enjoys. So that's one fantastic thing. And you know, we're not just a community board, we're also a nonprofit, which allows us to have people like Briandra and Andrew here, who has been fantastic. Okay. Are there any other suggestions for next month's meeting?
I just want to remind everyone that if they don't know if they can be on a committee, they can always reach out to the Whitaker Community Council later and ask about committees and find out more about the committees on our website, which is whitakercommunitycouncil.com. And to volunteer on a committee, just ask to be on a committee. That's all it takes.
And I want to remind everybody, and we want to welcome Barbie, who hasn't missed a meeting since we started inviting her. Or an event actually, to make sure to get out there and vote. When is
7th, but the pamphlet went out, people's houses today. Get the pamphlet today, the election's November 7th.
all right, do you have anything that you want to add before we go?
No, you guys are
What you're hearing?
covering it. This is, I think this is a great place, here to have meetings and hybrid as well, so I'm excited to be here for this. You guys do a great job as a committee, and I'm gonna spread the word that more people should join these and participate. You do most community activities you've ever seen, very community oriented, very smart on everything, and the guest speakers and what you're doing. Scobert Park or Scobert Gardens, I have been waiting for something to happen to that. It's a beautiful spot that needs to be utilized, so all the things you're doing are wonderful community enrichments. So just kudos, applause. And it's easy to be here and talk, you know, and it's community enrichment, it's great, so I'm welcomed, and I like that. Yeah.
Thank you, and yes, you're always welcome, no matter what outcome. Okay, great, so I think if nobody has anything else to say, we're gonna be done a half hour early. Imagine that. Thank you very much, Barbie. Thank you for coming. Briandra, please thank the search gentleman. And for those of you that I can't see your faces, thank you very much for being here. And we will do our best to make some improvements next month on the hybrid part. All right, thank you very much, and enjoy the nice rain that we have. Have a good day. Hey, get that phone. Get that good job, do it.
I'm excited about the garden. The reason I mentioned the sensory park.